Well, my name is Angela Belcher, and I'm a faculty member in biological engineering at MIT, and I'm the department head at MIT. And I'm a biological engineer, but I'm also a material scientist, and I'm an inventor. Inventing is what I love to do, and I'd say I'm really at the interface between multiple disciplines because what I'm interested in is taking the elements of life, taking the elements of living systems and expanding them or repurposing them to solve important problems, mostly around material science, but always focused at some of the, what I feel like are some of the most pressing issues on the planet. I am an inventor. I love inventing, but innovation is also part of inventing, but it's also a really important part of pushing science and engineering forward. Innovation is it can be developing something completely new, but that's pretty difficult. Most of the time, it's being deeply immersed in a field or in a topic or something that you love and care about, and bringing a new direction to it, pushing it in a new direction to make improvements on a particular science or a particular technology. So that would be my my definition of innovation. But it's a little bit hard for me to define innovation, to tell you the truth, because being immersed at MIT, innovation is so much of who we are. That it's really hard to separate it from our everyday lives, because when we're in our labs or in our classrooms or on campus, what we're always thinking about, and I'm not sure if this is true for everyone, but it's true for most people, and that's from our undergraduates to our staff, to our faculty, to everyone. It's most about thinking about problems in the world, thinking about challenges in the world, and thinking about solutions. So it's one thing to say, climate change is a problem, or having inexpensive healthcare for everyone. Well, it's a problem. It's easier to define a problem, but what we're interested in is, yes, defining the problem, but also finding solutions to that problem. And the way we find the solutions to those problems, or the way that we find those solutions to the challenges, is through innovation. And our innovation is deeply rooted in fundamental science and fundamental technology, and the ability to make an impact. When I was very young, from the time I can remember, 4 or 5 years old, I had this idea that I wanted to be an inventor. And how does a 4 or 5-year-old think about wanting to be an inventor? I don't exactly know where that came from. But I always knew from the time I was young, I wanted to do something that was important. And my only reference to inventors was Thomas Edison. So it must have been something that my older brother or something told me about. And I thought, wow, that is, in whatever a 5-year-old brain, that's super cool. And so I decided I was going to be an inventor. And I went into my garage in Houston in the summers, which was very hot. And I said, I'm not going to leave here till I invent something new. And of course, I was not successful. I didn't have the equipment or even ideas about what I wanted to do. And as I got a little bit older, I thought, well, the biggest way to make an impact is probably to be a physician, is probably to be to help people as a doctor. And so I was kind of on the path of being a physician or a doctor. But along the way, I really fell in love with molecules, which sounds really strange, but it's absolutely true. I fell in love with large molecules like DNA and like proteins. And to this day, I still get chills when I think about how complex they are and how they're only built out of just a couple of different building blocks. But those few building blocks that they're made of differentiates all life on the planet and differentiates life versus non-life on the planet. So I got really interested in that. And I felt a little bit guilty because I was definitely less interested in the whole organism, and I was more interested in the parts that make an organism together. And so then I realized that, wow, maybe you can make an impact by doing something that's not, necessarily taking care of patients. And in the end, understanding molecules and how molecules interact and control space and life have an enormous impact on medicine, but also have an enormous impact on other fields as well. You are getting ready to be on the most exciting journey. And I loved undergraduate. I actually tried to stay in undergraduate school for longer, and they said I had to graduate. They said, it's time to go on and do something else, because I enjoyed undergraduate school so much. Were there difficult times? Were there difficult classes? Absolutely. But it's a time where you can learn about topics you didn't know before, where you can go deep, where you work with people from all over the world, from different backgrounds, but you're united in this common experience, whether it's a common experience of MIT, whether it's a common experience of your dorm or your living situation, or if it's the common experience of your major. You have the next 4 years to learn a lot about different fields, learn a lot about yourself, learn a lot about the world, and in the end, you come out with a particular degree, and you're going to be excited about that degree. Does that mean that now that I'm a biological engineer or a civil engineer, I can't go on and be a lawyer or be a doctor? With a degree from MIT, you can go on and do almost anything you want to do. And so don't worry about making the most perfect decision. Make a decision that's right for you at the moment, knowing that you can make changes on that. And you can make changes on that in 5 years. You can make changes on that in 15 years. You can make changes on that in 20 years. By getting a degree at MIT, we're giving you a deep experience that you will be able to take and go on and do many different things and hopefully make an impact in the world. And what I know about our students is our students go on and make an impact in the world. So welcome to MIT.